Good morning. Hey, Nicole. You know, I giggled when I saw you posted that you had already voted. And you say your days are mixed up. I feel that, boo. I feel that. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Please tap the screen. Please tap the screen so everybody can get in here because we do have to take care of some business before we talk about some other stuff. Lots of things happened while we were asleep last night. And I don't want to post stuff because I know for certain that they're doing something to my account, but I know something of this magnitude. Good morning, Connect. They are not going to allow those of us with really large followings um, to continue to post stuff. So if you haven't, a good source of information for what I'm about to talk about is Al Jazeera, the channel, as well as the page. It's a Middle Eastern page as well as news. Good morning, everybody. Come on in, keep tapping the screen. As well as the BBC. And if you are able to come across some of the Canadian channels and pages, those are definitely credible sources for what is happening right now. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Um, while we were asleep, the orange toddler and Netanyahu attacked Iran. Now, what does that mean? Before people start panicking, because I know there's going to be a lot of people who will start to post things because it is a hot topic and it is definitely going to be clickbait. But it is imperative that we really understand what that means. Good morning, V, and how that is going to affect us here. Let me say this right now. If there is anybody in here who this is going to be triggering or it is too much for you to take in, I'm not even angry if you drop out of the chat because I'm going to tell the truth. And some of that truth may be alarming. For some people, it is new. They have never been in a situation where we're talking about imminent war possibilities. So I understand. I'll just give you a second. Want to stay and understand what we are facing? Cool. If you don't want to, it's cool too. Well, TY, it's not an accident that everything is nonchalant. And let us be very clear. So let me turn up the volume. And yes, I am in Starbucks because the reception at the house is hideous. So there is that. Okay, here we go. As you well know, the orange toddler and Netanyahu have been chummy chummy. And there's going to be a lot of different pieces to this. So I'm going to talk about one little piece and then I'll tell you at the end of that piece. And then there is that. That'll let you know that we can add another piece because I don't want people to be confused. So the first thing is this. The orange toddler and Netanyahu, who is the leader of Israel, they have both been gunning because they want the Bank of Gaza. They want to turn it into this ultra fabulous playland for the rich and the powerful, and they want to take that country away from the people of Gaza. They are a sovereign country, Gaza. The rest of the world has recognized that, and regardless of their financial and their military frailty, they are still a country, and they are entitled to the protections that the allies of the world are offering. Well, Iran has told the American government as well as the Israel government that it's Israeli, and I don't know why I said that. Anyway, they have told them to back up off of Gaza. And as you clearly can see, they are not. So instead of just moving in and doing it that way, the American government, rather the orange toddler, decided to go around the back way and attack Iran. Now, that was intentional. The reason why it's intentional is because there's lots of hotbed topics going on in terms of what is happening in the Middle East. The other thing is lots of oil comes from the Middle East. So there's a vested interest also in if we can say that the Iranian government is incapable of governing itself, then it needs a superpower to come in and do that. And if we take control of the government and we take control of that country, then we also take control of its resources and its riches. So there is that. The other thing, yesterday, boy, my mouth is broke this morning. The country of Poland announced that they are launching their own investigation in reference to the Epstein files. Now, why this is significant is the more countries that launch their own investigations of it, if these countries sit on the 196 country seat of the Interpol, it makes it a lot easier for Interpol as well as the International Criminal Court to get involved. Once the International Criminal Court gets involved, jurisdiction is global. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Bill Clinton, former President Bill Clinton, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton have been brought before the committee to testify. Never before has a sitting or former sitting president been called to depose in front of the committee. They have now set a precedent. If they are able to pull a former president and former Secretary of State and sit before the committee and answer questions, then all bets are off. And now Congress and the committee has asked that the sitting president of the United States come before the committee and testify in reference to the Epstein files. How coincidental is that you are now being summoned to talk about all of the times, the pictures, the videos that you showed up in the Epstein files. So what do? Because you do not have the power to do anything here, you go and pick on someone you know or you think doesn't have the power to fight back. And you create this distraction with the rest of the world, because then the rest of the world will stop their investigations and they will then take up allyship because no one else outside of America wants to go to war. There is that. But here is the caveat. Because there has never been a former or current president sit before the committee, most people thought, oh, well, if they call, he's not going to come. The Clintons have entered the chat. Now, the GOP is smart. They didn't think that they would show up. They thought they would fight it, that they would resist coming forward. They didn't. Hillary Clinton showed up on her date of deposition. Howsoever, Lauren Boebert decided to leak pictures of her, knowing if she leaked those pictures, it would halt the deposition. Why ever would you want to halt Hillary Clinton's deposition? Again, more distractions, more delays. We have got to create as many diversions as we possibly can. And at this point, they don't really care who or what they do. That is very evident. So let's talk about the East Wing of the White House. A lot of people thought that was going to be a golden ballroom. No, It's a bunker. And if you think because they told them to cease and desist that they've stopped, you're highly mistaken. See, when all of this came into play and things did not go as planned, this is where we're going to roll the tape back. And I'm going to show you how none of this went the way they wanted it to go. So now we're in the phase of extreme measures. So this is what was supposed to happen. We'll share a PDF copy of P 2025. It'll get out amongst it'll get out amongst the masses, and people will get so upset and so angry. Well, you know what they do when they start protesting. They will begin to loot. They will begin to fight. They will take to the streets, and then we can call martial law. If we call martial law, then we can implement these other things because the federal government has then federalized police and the army to maintain public control. But that didn't happen because we went to the polls on November 5th, and then on November 6th, the 92% and the 86% said, we're going to sit down and be quiet. Not only did we say we were going to sit down and be quiet, we passed it along. Everybody, we're out of this fight. It has nothing to do with us. So now you take out the group you thought was going to take to the streets. Out the group you thought was going to fight back. No, we're not. We're going to march. We're learning line dances. We're moisturizing our skin. We're getting some more degrees. Carry on as y'all do. So that didn't work. So then the next thing they did is, well, we got to find some money, and we got to find some money fast because we have got to put this thing in motion, because further down the line, if we have to activate our extreme measures, we got to have somewhere to go, because we saw what happened in 9/11. Yeah, that's the quiet part nobody is talking about. See, you went over to Iran and picked a fight with somebody that has war dogs all over the country. In your country, they did a test run. 9/11 was a test run. How do we activate in their country without weapons? We will use their stuff against them. Yeah, that was a warning shot. But I digress. Let me stay focused. So, now, in 2025, we're going to go ahead and get started. We'll tell them that we're building a massive ballroom with gold-laden walls and all this stuff. When in actuality, we're going to go ahead and build a bunker, because if we have to activate the extreme measures, we got to have somewhere to go. Stay with me. Who can we get that can help us get our hands on some easy cash? Elon Musk. Go ahead and put together a group of your minions, and we're going to call your group Doge. And I need you to go and get in those computers, and I need you to find every agency and department in this government that has liquid cash. And I'm talking large sums of liquid cash. Go find it. And we'll say we're looking for waste. Yeah. Well, you can't do that. It's against the law. We have to go through Congress. Don't worry about Congress. We'll keep Congress out of the know. I'm giving you the authority and the permission to go in there. They came up with some little wonky government name or whatever for him and his minions, and so they set off finding all this waste, when in actuality, they were not finding waste. They were gouging every budget that had liquid cash. The two largest sums of liquid cash sits in the Department of Education, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. Isn't that weird how all of a sudden everything in the Department of Education got changed? Well, we got to change it around. You're not going to need it anymore because we're getting ready to take all that money. There's that. And let's go ahead and make some changes to Medicare and Medicaid, and we'll take the liquid cash out of there too. Well, what about the people who depend on this, like the children that are in Head Start or the old people that are on medications and in skilled nursing facilities and nursing homes? Oh, it doesn't matter. They're going to expire anyway. Those are little kids. They'll figure it out. Their parents are poor anyway. It doesn't matter. And so they commence to gouging. Those of you that are in school or you have kids in school, did you start getting some of those strange letters telling you your financial aid had changed? That you weren't getting the same amount that you were supposed to be getting? That it deducted a large amount of what you originally were supposed to get? Yeah, that was me. I know. It happened for real. That's what they did with all of that money. So then the judge said, you need to put that money back. Then they were like, we'll get on it. But they never put it back. And nobody ever came because Pam Bundy and her minions went to court and found some loophole about how it was illegal and yada, yada, yada. So here we are. In the meantime, people are demanding that the files be released. Well, they're not getting enough traction on that because the wrong people, or rather the right people, are not saying it. So then Margaret Taylor Greene enters the chat and she's like, well, if you don't tell who's in those files and let those files out, I'm going to tell all the people who are here that are committing great essay. So then it got really messy. And then they had to figure out a way to get rid of her. So then they did a hit job on her publicly, pushing her to the brink, and she quit. Hey, boo. So there's that. Y'all keep tapping the screen. Still, everything they kept trying to do to cause people to riot, it didn't work. So then in comes ICE. And we're just going to start snatching people out of their homes, their cars, they're going to go to jobs. Then they began to unalive people. They still thought people were going to go out. Nope, didn't happen. Meantime, Netanyahu is still chomping at the bit, trying to go at it and take Gaza from the people of Gaza. The rest of the world is like, you better not. He then calls the orange toddler and is like, we got to do something because I want Gaza. They're not going to let me have it, and there's no way for us to do it. Well, then Iran enters the chat and says, if you attempt to go to war with Gaza or take Gaza from those people, you're going to have to deal with us. Now, I bet you everybody is trying to figure out, Iran doesn't have that kind of power. They got all the oil, they got a lot of money, but they don't have that power. You ever heard of a country called Russia or China? That's who Iran has in their back pocket. Both Russia and China have strong financial and legislative ties to Iran. And they both have told the orange toddler, do not get involved in that mess in Gaza, and clearly do not attack Iran. Now, a lot of people would like to think that the orange toddler is chummy and in the bed with Pookie. Pookie can't stand him. The orange toddler would like to be like him. He would like to be respected like him. He tries everything in his power to emulate what he thinks Putin is. Russia has absolutely no respect for him or our government. And any time that he is ventured to say that he was going to do something with our government, as it turned out, psych on your mind, make your booty shine. He made a complete ass out of orange toddler and completely reneged. And you can go to Google and all of the foreign news stations and see the clips of the press conferences with him literally saying those things. So there is that. So now what does this mean? Well, here are the things that are all going on at the same time. Netanyahu and the orange toddler want Gaza, and they're picking on Iran to go backdoor way in order to get it. Because if they can nullify that force on that side in the Middle East, then it gives them a clear pathway to just take Gaza with no resistance. Then they can build their city of wealth for the richest people in the world. So there is that. The other thing is, if they are able to nullify Iran's stronghold, not only does this give them a backdoor means of taking over Gaza, this also gives them access to billions of dollars of oil and oil bonds in the Middle East. There is that. What does that mean stateside for us? Well, any and everything pertaining to the Epstein files and the release of it, as well as the conviction, that would pretty much be put on hold because now we are in a international crisis with a potential enemy. War is imminent. I want you all to pay attention to how things are said and what they are and what is being said because that is everything. A declaration of war can only come from Congress. Congress has the purse and the power. Let me repeat that again. A declaration of war can only come from Congress. They hold the purse and they hold the power. They can make the declaration of war and the president will sign it into being. A president cannot just decide, I want to go and attack someone. I hope you're catching what I'm putting down. Congress did not okay going over there and doing that. Yeah, Congress didn't meet on that. Congress was in the committee talking to the Clintons. So now, good morning. There are a lot of possibilities of things. I don't want people to get weirded out or to panic. Understanding the law, understanding the Constitution, and understanding the three branches of our government, it is necessary at this point. And I don't want to sound condescending when I say that, only because you're going to see a lot of stuff on the news. You're going to see people saying a whole bunch of things. Do not get caught up in that because misinformation and disinformation is how people like the orange toddler Netanyahu are able to do the things they're able to do because they're hoping people do not understand or know how this goes and that they will react and respond rather than being proactive, educating themselves and understanding the process. All is not lost at this point. Now, unfortunately, when they attacked Iran, there's a possibility that somebody may have been unalive or hurt. I haven't gone to see about the death toll and all of that. I did just go and review what was the extent of the damage and what was the response from other countries. There is a lot of stuff that is going on right now, and it is all relative to each other. None of this stuff is random. It is not he woke up this morning and was in a Twitter fit. No. It is very specific and intentional. There are a lot of irons in the fire, and people are doing a lot of damage control to protect themselves and their vested interests. For there to be over 20 countries launching an investigation in those Epstein files, this clearly proves that this is not just a group of 5, 10 men from different companies or political heads. This will bring down an entire global syndicate. That's the best way I can say it. And these people go to the highest of the food chain in terms of power and money. And it didn't just start with Jeffrey Epstein. This goes back far, 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 far. See, in order to do the things that we have learned about in those Epstein files, it requires a system. It requires lots of people. The people who perpetuated these disgusting acts and the people who were employed by them to be the watchers. be the messengers, be the groomers. When I say intricate, I'm telling you intricate. We've got pilots. We've got pilots. We have maids. We have people who clean up after the unalivings and the abortions. So, to what degree would someone go to protect that? Because you are talking about a underground black market existence where the currency is human beings. See, for those of us that don't live in that world, we couldn't even possibly imagine. And you are talking about an existence that has been, we're going back. We're going way back. We're going back to the establishment of the 7 families of the United States. Google that. One of those families, the Rothschilds, take a gander into their stuff. Take a gander into the Biltmore House. Take a gander into Joe Kennedy and his bootleg liquor business that put his sons into office and established the Kennedy family as the royal family of America. So no, it didn't start with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was just some loot who stumbled across an opening in the door and was able to come in and join a network of people. And he was smart enough to keep the right receipts and get the right people in the worst predicaments and allow himself to be catapulted to the top of the food chain in a record amount of time. If people are willing to take us to war to protect their vested interests in things that they have been doing, understand this didn't just start a couple of years ago. It didn't start when Jeffrey Epstein walked into that school pretending to be an instructor. People don't just give you $1 million townhomes and control of your assets and businesses just because they think you are a swell guy. I don't know what Les Wexner did. But he did something. Because he ain't talking. And he gave Jeffrey Epstein total control financially and power over his companies. Victoria's Secret, White Candle, Bath and Body Works. Any of those companies sound familiar to you? Those. Yeah. So, there's several different things that can happen. We don't know. So I'm not going to say, oh yeah, this is going to happen, because we don't know. Because as it turns out, as soon as things looked like they were getting really grim ever since this twit came back into office, there's been something that has come and put the fire out, only for us to wake up the next morning and another brush fire be lit. But last year I did do a video and I did bring to the attention of nurses that in the event that something does happen, they can call nurses to draft. There is such a draft. Those of you that are not familiar with the draft law, both if you are healthcare or civilian, I would suggest you make yourself aware of it. Now, I'm not saying what happened last night means that they're getting ready to do that, but it is necessary for us to understand all of the possibilities and where this can go. Please do not run out to the store and buy up all the toilet paper, okay? Let's not do that. Let's be smart. But I will say this, as I have said since this man took the office, it is necessary for you to prepare yourselves. Make certain that you have things, because different things can happen. Iran does have the power to knock out power grids out. And they've said they would do that. That's one of the possibilities. The other possibility is Other countries could decide we're not sending anything else to America via import. Now, what's mind blowing about that is that this is America, and we do have the possibility to grow, create all of the things that we import. But we don't do that. You want to know why we don't do that? Because we like to go over in the other countries. And we like to plot our military bases over there and plot our headquarters and businesses over there and employ the people of those countries and act like, oh my God, this is the best way to be a global citizen. When in actuality, what we are doing, and I say we in terms of the government of this country, is we're planting a stake. Because once you have the money and the power, then you get to dictate and influence what is happening. Anybody ever ask themselves why they put all those factories? Why do all of our really top brand companies go over to Asia and the Middle East and put their companies to do the work they do and then have it shipped back to America? Why you don't just open a factory here in America? Because you can't go into Detroit or Los Angeles and tell somebody they're going to work 400 hours a week and only get paid $10. That's why. Mm. If you are unfamiliar with how the Constitution works, this will be a good time to read the Constitution. And I'm not even being funny. Because the reason why so much stuff is not getting done is because the people who are voting do not understand how the law works. A lot of people actually think when you vote for the president, that's it. The president is in charge. No, the president is the face of this government. It's Congress. That is why his little pudgy body is working overtime to starve, interfere, distract, create a commotion because he does not want Congress to flip. Because we've seen a peek at what the new Congress is going to look like. They're not showing up anymore talking about eloquence and decorum. It's a new breed of Congress coming out. And if I was on the other side, I'd be scared too. So there is that. Those of you who take ongoing medication, get with your physicians and your providers and see if you can have that changed to mail order. By changing it to mail order, you get a larger amount of your prescription at one time. I recommend that you do that because if for whatever reason our lines of communication, our power grids, if anything were to disturb any of that, you have what you need. Let us be proactive and not reactive. Those of you that have people who have chronic illnesses or have people who rely on caregiving, now is a good time to have a family meeting and to come up with some contingency plans. I'm certain you've probably seen on TikTok those advertisements for power banks and all that kind of stuff. And you probably scrolled right through it and was like, yeah, right, whatever. I would recommend you get you some, just in case. Because those of us that remember 9/11, our country was closed. Let me repeat that again. Our country was closed. They grounded our aeronautical system for almost 2 months. Gas, oil. You remember? That was a test run. The Iranians are not going to have to get on a plane and come over here. Start making it a practice. Do not let your cars go past half or a quarter tank of gas. Keep your gas tanks filled. If you live in a home where you are able to safely store, I would recommend you do so. We don't have to panic. We just have to be prepared. And we have to educate ourselves and understand what all these things mean. Because people who are in power bank on us not knowing. They bank on us just turning on our TVs or going to our social media forums, and whatever somebody puts out there, it is okay. We'll just go with it. It sounds right. Mm-mm. Pay attention to what they are resisting the most. That'll tell you there is a panic. And the panic is not amongst those of us who get up every day and go to work. No, the panic is with the people who've been doing all of these things, and their run is coming to an end. Well, if your way of life is a certain way, you don't want to see it undone. You're protected by any means. We are talking billions here. These people who have been committing these heinous acts are the very people who go into judicial chambers. They are members of parliament. They are members of the royal family. They are members of our government. They are the CEOs of the major companies across the world. These are the people who are the movers and shakers of the existence we call our livelihood. These are the people who have been meeting and doing all of these egregious things. Pam Bondi has said one thing true that came out of her mouth. If we go after these people, the whole thing will burn to the ground. She wasn't talking about just America. So, if you have never done so, make yourself familiar with the Constitution. I assure you, if you understood the Constitution, it definitely would change your motivation to vote. There is that. The next thing is this: they're not telling us in America what is happening outside of America, but the rest of the world is rounding up and moving to investigate and prosecute the people that are citizens in their country that are in those files. Something else that happened yesterday that I think you need to know about. The representative Stansbury from New Mexico. May God keep her safe and protected. She released the names of every member of the administration that's in the Epstein files. Yeah, those names that Pam Bondi was trying. Darla, we being serious right now. No, I don't. But thank you for the compliment. We can't never be serious. I swear to God, we can't never be serious. My God, today. But go ahead. Thank you. It's probably because I had some sleep. I don't look like a chocolate covered slanted eyed chia pet because I'm just bloated and just tired. I went to sleep and I slept. I didn't get up till like 8 this morning. So there's that. What was I saying before Darla? She's so silly. So yes, take a gander at the Constitution. The other thing is make yourself familiar with what is happening with the primaries in your state. Research the people and don't just follow the money. Follow who they are connected to. Let me tell you a story. I am a big fan of the Italian mafia, Los Costa Nostra. I have loved following their story, and I know that probably sounds weird, but I have learned quite a bit from that group. You want to know how the mafia was able to stay as powerful and as strong as they were as long as they did? It didn't just happen because they paid off people or they beat some people up or some people came up missing. No. The best way to beat someone is to become who you're trying to beat. If Uncle Paulie had four sons, one son came with him to the social club. One son went to law school. Another son went to accounting. And then one of the sons, we're just going to let him chill till we figure out what we want to do. Because it was necessary for them to know if we're going to break the law, we have to understand the law. We have to understand the law and know where the loopholes are, the technicalities. We have to know where there is a possibility for us to move and no one ever will see us. And we have to put people in places that will give us access to that. Don't believe me? Watch the movie Godfather. Go and watch any of those documentaries, and the good fellas who have gotten out, they will tell you. You want to know what was the downfall of the Black Panther Party? They were able to convince Black people to infiltrate and come back and tell them what they wanted to know. The quickest way to take down enemy is to become your enemy with your enemy. I don't know why that is so hard for people to believe. Which is why our parents always tell us, tell that little girl, little boy, go home. I don't got a good feeling about them. They're not your friend. So this entire time while the orange toddler has been aggressively marginalizing and attacking certain ethnicities. And let's take a gander on Black people, Latinos and Hispanics, Middle Eastern, Asians. Now let's take a gander at who's got some power. Asia, China. Why are you picking with people from the Middle East when they are the best doctors, mathematicians, and scientists that live in this country? Only second to our entire industrial system, horticulture, agriculture, that is run and worked by the Hispanic and Latino community. Are you mad? They are our farmers. They are our builders, landscapers. They take care of our grass, our trees. They build our homes. They farm our crops. And not only do they do that in terms of that's what they work, they are masters at it. Hmm. Anybody notice how Madam President Down south, she ain't really been saying much lately. I tell you all the time, when people get quiet, you should be concerned. Our neighbors up top, Canada, no, nobody noticed. Ain't nobody really saying nothing. Mhm. But I bet you people start having something to say after that foolishness this idiot then pulled. Oh, they most definitely are going to pull the crimes against humanity card. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. There was no reason in the world to attack Iran. There was no reason in the world to attack Iran, except you're scared and you're trying to protect yourself. And I'll be very honest with you guys. Normally, in a situation like this, the unknowing, it should, or it usually would preempt you to be scared and be like, well, what if this and what if that? You want to know something? In the last year, I have recognized one thing that has been constant. Those of us that have nothing to do with these monstrosities and these acts of hate, we've been okay. I mean, we've had to pay $10 for strawberries and a pint. That's crazy, but we've been okay. Now, there's been some things that have happened to some of the members of our community. We have lost some people. People have been attacked. People have been deported and they've been pulled from their homes. And by no means am I marginalizing that because that is wrong. I don't agree with it at all. My heart and my prayers go to those who have experienced that travesty. But when I say that we've been all right, the gloom that P 2025 foreshadowed and our diligence to stay informed and be one community versus divided and pointing fingers, it has created a wall of resistance that has made it quite difficult for them to continue to do things that they wanted to do. Now, it's not to say that some of the things that they've outlined in that they haven't been able to do, but a majority of the things, they are not on the timeline that they had anticipated. Before the end of year one, everything in P 2025 was supposed to be enacted and erected. We were supposed to have been a police state versus the democratic state that we live in now. So I say all of that to everyone to say this. Scary as it is for attacks, utilizing military warfare is, I honestly believe that when you step out of something that doesn't have anything to do with you and you declare that you're not going to be a part of that, and you push for what is right and just, and you stay faithful and good, and you live your life every day to the fullest as God has instructed us to do, then we're going to be all right. I can't say the same for people who are not living it. And whether you are Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, Jewish, or even if you profess that you don't believe, as long as every day that you wake up and you are a good person to yourself, to the people you engage and interact with, that you do not support or are complicit with the wrongdoings of other people, you're going to be all right. That's one thing Iran has said that they're not going to do. Unlike our government, they have no intentions or plans of harming the innocent. And I believe them. I am a member of the middle class. Whether you want to say that's the top middle or the bottom middle, it doesn't matter. I'm part of the working poor. And I say the working poor, meaning every time I get 2 steps ahead, here they come with something to send me 3 steps backwards. But I'm safe and I'm happy and I'm at peace. And every day I'm working towards doing something that is not only going to benefit me, but benefit the community that I live in. And even though the world around me is in total chaos and pandemonium, what is important to me is whatever amount of time I have left here, that I number those days with doing things that are going to enrich my life and enrich the lives of the people that I come in contact with. And those are the things that God asks us to do. I would never want to see anyone go to war. The idea that there are places around us that are at war, it hurts my soul because there's so much to live for that has absolutely nothing to do with fighting. But some people, they are just hell bent on what they believe in and what it is that they want to do. And you gotta let them. But that doesn't mean that you have to lay down and do nothing. Because there's nothing written in the Bible that God tells us to do that. Even though some people will interpret it that way. That is not the God we serve. God does ask us to be faithful. He does ask us to be just. He does ask us to be fair. He does not say be a fool. So with that being said, make certain that you know and understand the things that you are hearing. Something comes across your timeline or comes up on your television. Educate yourself on it. Do not just go with stuff because so and so said it. Now, I can tell you this. I do make it my business before I come on here and tell you all anything, especially anything outside of my little world. I do make certain that what I'm telling you is factual. But even in that, if there's a question or something you don't understand about it, make sure that you educate yourself about it. But I am going to tell you this. We can't go to war unless Congress declares it. Now, that's not to say that people will not wake up from indigestion from down in 5 Big Macs and just get on the phone and call the Israeli prime minister and decide, oh, push the button and send some stuff over there to Iran. That happened. Was it supposed to? No. But we're dealing with someone who has no business in government because he doesn't even understand how it works. But people like his random outbursts, his loud destruction and divisiveness. It feeds their agenda. But again, that don't have nothing to do with us. So today is Saturday. If you wanted to get up today and go to brunch, go to brunch. You want to take your babies to the zoo or the museum or the aquarium, take them. You want to do some self-care, moisturize your skin, or playing your lip glosses, trim and barber your beard, listen to some music while you and the boys play some pool, do all of that. And in the same token, keep yourself informed and educated. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, Miss Darla, as far as another uncle. You want to know what the issue is with me and dating? Because Lord knows I've tried. And then I had stopped for a while because I was like, I need to focus on school. Here are the things that happened to Auntie Diva. Um, Men will attempt to talk to me, but I don't know. I think they have amnesia because having a wife or a girlfriend, I'm confused. I'm so confused. So let me just go ahead and put this out there before anybody else tries to shoot their shot. I am the feature presentation, not to be confused with the preview trailer. I get top billing on the marquee. I am an exclusive kind of girl. I will share my cookies. I will share some coffee. I will not share my man. It's crazy. I know. It's a strange concept in 2026, but that's just the kind of girl that I am. My programming package comes so fully loaded. The audacity to think that I would. And let me say this because I think where they get it twisted is, they see the little gray crown and they figure, oh, she's an older woman. She'll go with it. Baby, let me tell you something. My speedometer may say 54, but everything in and on this model, it's moving at a 28 to 38-year-old speed. Do not play with me. I'll keep you up way past your bedtime. You'll be in a corner with your thumb in your mouth. So, if you married or you got a girl, you in a situationship, please do not stop here. HR is not hiring your title. That's not what we're doing. Just because the mountaintop is snow capped, the basement is banging and partying. Okay? So glad we could have that TED Talk. And desperate, that don't pump in my veins. You should have called me in my 20s and 30s when I was still goofy and silly. See, Kmart, the ones that are still open, I know they brought back their blue light special, but I did not. I don't have a blue light special or a red light special. No. If you think, let me keep it gangster for you, in 2026, if you think in the last 7 years, obtaining 3 different nursing degrees, being financially strapped, giving it all up to start over from ground zero twice, raising 2 amazing daughters solo, as degreed and educated and experienced in life as I am, if you think for a second, because you think you fine as wine and your Dirk Diggler swing a certain way, that's going to impress me and make me throw all of that out the window and just say, oh, that's okay, I don't mind. See, I don't listen to that song that SZA, but on the weekend, I don't know nothing about that, baby. Like I said, I am the feature presentation. Top billing. Always. So, Darla, I don't know when you're going to get another uncle, honey. But to be honest, I ain't proactively been looking. I've been busy. Now, after March 24th, there might be signs that the girl is proactively looking. But right now, no, we don't still have 22. I think the last number I counted was either 24 or 26. And then I counted. I had 23 emails with people saying that they are coming. They just need to know the dates so that they can make certain that they are not double booking themselves for stuff. This internet family reunion is about to be off the chain, y'all. And I'm excited about that because considering all the chaos and mayhem that's going on outside of us, I think it's a beautiful thing that we'll have an opportunity to still fellowship and be community and have a good time. So I'm excited, very excited. So that is that, my loves. I came on here to basically plan a foundation in terms of some of the information that you're going to hear or see. But like I said, a good source for the news that's going on in the Middle East is Al Jazeera or the BBC, or try to find one of the Canadian channels because they're not going to show you anything that's going on in Iran here. And the next thing is there's going to be a lot of content creators in the next 24 to 48 hours that are going to be running and gunning with all kinds of information. Please, please vet the information that people are giving you and just don't take it on the surface. There's going to be lots of dramatics, scare tactics, clickbait, rage bait that's going to be on. Remember what people's agendas are. For the life of me, as shabbily as TikTok is now paying content creators, I don't understand how people get on here still willing to say and do anything in terms of getting some money. Like, that's crazy to me. Internet is forever. You getting on here lying and selling your soul, that's insane. Okay, so before I get off of here, let's end on a positive note. In terms of seeing all the turmoil and chaos, I have seen all the videos of our beloved nephew. He's so cute. I knew when he was in Florida, I knew he was going to go to a school. And I love the way that he does things. When he does things, he shares it with the world when he gets ready to. And I love the fact that he went to that school and spent that time with those children in Florida and were able to enjoy himself and the children without the deposition of people. Oh, that's cool, Nicole. That he was able to go and hang out with those children and it not be a paparazzi thing. You know, he was able to be with them and spend time with them organically. And you could honestly see and tell that they were authentically excited. But that is the aura that he generates in any room that he walks into. I mean, it is so hard to be around him and not be animated and excited. And um, the more that he is getting back to doing the things that he really enjoys doing, the more and the stronger he is becoming, and he is looking more and more like his true self. I love the fact that he is letting his hair be big like it was when he was a kid. He has the most beautiful big head of hair, my God, today. And he is just enjoying himself. Thank you, baby. Um, Not just that, I love how the team he has around him that they are a part of what he does. I love how he includes Stud and Florida, and his two legendary film team. You know, he does. That's one thing I will say about the Sanders family and what they do, how they do it, that even though everyone has a job, no one is treated like the help. Everybody is treated like family. I love that. Absolutely love that. The rest of the world is all choked up and trying to diagnose and break down that the boy gave his coach a birthday gift. Anybody else that was in Shador's shoes would probably be like, you know what, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I can't. Y'all doing the most. Like, he what does Shador do that is any different than the rest of us? Have any of you guys ever worked somewhere where you had a boss or supervisor or team lead, somebody that you really thought they are good people outside of just just the job itself, they are really good people. And the other thing is this: unlike a lot of people who have gone through collegiate football and now play in the pros, it's rare that you see or hear any of these young men ever acknowledge the fact that they really are appreciative of the people who see something in him. Shador is always thinking about the people who come into his world and they share with him, whether they buy him things or they share their wisdom or knowledge. But I think what people are missing in Shador's act, they so focused on what he gave. And why the hell would you think that that boy would ever give his coach a horsehead remnant of the message that Don Corleone sent to the head of the picture studio about, well, now let's be clear. That's a move I might make, but I like the mafia, so there's that. But Shador saw that and was like, "Ooh, I like that. It's in my house. Hey, it's Coach Todd's birthday. Let me grab that for him." Because that's just who he is. He is thoughtful like that. Him and Bucky was out one night together and he took off. He took off and gave it to his brother. Shalimar is wearing a gorgeous necklace. She probably told her brother she liked it, and he took it off and gave it to her. You probably saw it. She was wearing it during the draft, but that's who he is. That's who he even said it when he was unboxing. When he was unboxing his stuff, he said it. I'm keeping all of the cards and the messages and all of these gifts. They're really creative, and I'm going to keep these special because when I get ready to give my people, did anybody ever think that Shador remembered what it was like when he got to Cleveland and everybody wasn't excited about him being there? He knows a lot of people were not excited about Coach Todd being there. Sometimes in order to get a good friend, you got to be a good friend to somebody. Shador understands that. He is just very kind and giving. And the fact that these people are losing their heads because that baby gave his coach a gift, they're going to give themselves migraines and ulcers trying to overthink what is happening. Are y'all not clear? He said we're going to change the culture. When he arrived in Cleveland last year, he was like, it's Coach Kevin's birthday. Hey, we need to get him a cake. Somebody get him a cake. And everybody was laughing at him and making fun of him. He was dead ass serious because he pays attention and he remembers things. Everybody want to talk about that South Dallas drawl he got, that he talks like he's slow. Like, he's not slow at all. He misses nothing. And that speaks to the shallowness and the lack of introspect that a lot of people have. And that's where they went with that. You can tell he's gotten some sleep. He's back on his diet and his regimen. He was on his way back home in the airport and he reminded the aunties that was making him some coffee, no bread, can't have no bread, back at training. So he is specific and intentional about what he has in front of him. And he doesn't believe that because Coach Todd wanted him in college and he wanted him in Baltimore, that automatically means, hey, Miss M, that automatically means that he is the go-to. Now, we also know that Shador is not going into this thinking You also know Shador is not going into this thinking that, oh, I just gonna show up. You know, he's going to keep it hot. He's back in the lab. He's back in the lab, but at the same time, let us remember that he's now 24, another year around the sun. You know, he's spreading his wings a little more. He is getting comfortable with not always having the security of his family circle with him. He's trying things that he wants to do. I mean, we literally have watched this young man grow from a baby to now. So I know some of us, we still see little Shador, and you know, we still want to be like, wait, don't do that. But he is grown, literally, and he is handling it extremely well. He is professional. He is compassionate. He is entertaining. And he's focused. I mean, what else could we ask of him? Now, these other people, they crazy. I don't know. They are crazy. But, oh, thank you, Star Child. Shador has handled his demise and his sabotage with grace. He took from it what was going to take him where he needed to go. And now he's on a different page. That young man said he was going to change the culture, and he is doing it, which is exactly why the Community Give Back Initiative was chosen. Since we're hosting the Internet Family Reunion in Cleveland, Shador's love language is giving. And he is very big on philanthropy. He believes in giving back. And giving back doesn't always mean that you're giving somebody something. It can mean that you're giving of your time. And he knows and recognizes that his influence, it does something positive to the children who believe in him and follow him. But he doesn't just show up at the schools. He also makes certain that if there's a need there, he covers it. He don't blaze it all over the place for everybody to know. But we know. Nobody had anything to say about the gifts that he's given the people on his team. And that's cool. They don't have to. Because we knew Shador is going to take care of his offensive. He's going to take care of his offensive folks. He's going to spend time with them. He's going to give them an opportunity for them to understand and learn his language. He's going to learn theirs. And then they are going to intertwine, and it's going to be in synchronicity. We knew that already because that's what he does everywhere he goes. So this other stuff that everybody is really confused and talking about, they are holding on to days of old. We've moved on to something else. And speaking of giving back, thank you all who have participated in the give back. When I tell you that you all are amazing, you are amazing. The idea that all of the aunties and uncles and cousins on the internet have decided that they want to be a part of this positive change in the culture and the narrative surrounding the Cleveland Browns and the city of Cleveland, that speaks to the strength of family and community. And I'm glad to be a part of the side that we'll be able to look back on this and be like, we were a part of that. We were a part of that change. In a little while, we're not going to talk about Cleveland the way we used to. Won't be any more of those jokes or shade or slugs. Cleveland is going to garner the same level of respect you would the 49ers, the Steelers, the Eagles. And it's not going to be just because people are glazing Shador. It is going to be because people have honestly made the conscious decision. We don't want to do that anymore. That's not where we are anymore. Let's embrace this winning. And not just the winning on the field. Let's embrace the winning in the community that this team resides in. And that's the energy that we're going to take every year, everywhere that we have the Internet Family Reunion. So I'm looking forward to this fall. I'm excited. And even though everything outside of our little world is in chaos, continue to do the things that you've always done. Pray. Live by those prayers and God's intent and word. Be good to yourselves and the people that you engage. Swerve and stay away from the Debbie Downers and the negativity. Don't even give it any of your attention or life. Don't speak on it, don't click on it, none of that. We have so many positive things going on. There are so many things that, even though things look a little grim, questionable, continue to build, because whatever happens, at least we can say we live every day to the fullest. We live every day by God's will. What else could you ask for? Now, for them folks that's on the other side, they should be worried. Because Karma, she a bad girl. And she coming. All right, my loves, I'm going to hop off of here. Happy Saturday, everybody. Go do great things. As always, protect your peace and your mental health.